Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. O Lord, please lead us from unreality to the reality, from ignorance to the knowledge, and from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, advanced Happy New Year. Today is a blessed day. It is a twice blessed day, we can say. One is, as we all know, to redeem the sin of the people, to uplift the people, to direct and guide the people. The Almighty descended in the form of a prophet, that is Jesus Christ. Today night, Jesus Christ had born. The second is the apostles of Sri Ramakrishna who took oath, who took spiritual resolution or resolutions on this sacred day. This is a reason in all the branch centers of Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, they celebrate Christmas Eve. Why? On this Christmas Eve, the first generation of monks, the monastic disciples of the holy saint or the prophet or incarnation of this age, that is Sri Ramakrishna. So the disciples, monastic disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, they took a oath or resolution that we will embrace the monasticism. So it is a twice blessed day. Now the question may come for many of us, what is the need of this resolution? It is very much required. Many times we think, I should get up at early morning, maybe 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Then I should finish my oblations, sit for prayer and meditation for half an hour, then do some exercise and finish my work. And again, evening, I should sit for some studies, meditation, whatnot. We think it is vital for our life. Then we keep on practicing for a few days, 1 week, 2 week over. Afterwards, we may feel boredom, or we feel that there is a work schedule, workload, responsibilities, some other reasons for that. We may stop meditation, or we may reduce prayer time, or exercise, or some spiritual practices basically. Though we wish to perform spiritual practices, we are not able to. We will be unable to. So to check this type of errors, to check this type of shortcomings, to continue our spiritual progress in a regulated manner, we have to take some resolutions, right resolutions, spiritual resolutions. Whatever it may be, I will get up at 5 a.m. every day without fail. Whatever it may be, every day I meditate for half an hour. Whatever it may be, whatever may come, every day, 45 minutes to 1 hour, I shall study the scriptures. So this type of oath taking or resolutions, if when we take, it binds us. It doesn't mean that our spiritual practices will become easy. It may not. We may have to face a lot of struggles, lot of adverse circumstances and problems from our own mind, external situations which are not favorable for all of us. Fine. But because of this resolution, taking resolution, that will bind us to perform our spiritual practices. Sometimes it may become mechanical. Sometimes it become as a necessity or helplessness, but in due course of time, we will get benefited from these things. That is the reason we have to take a resolution. Oh God, let me lead the spiritual life. There's a resolution. Let me lead a meditative life. Let me lead a God centered life. Let me lead the life in such a way that let me dedicate myself to the service of the humanity. All these type of dedications or resolutions are important for any people, for any person who practices higher values. So similarly, the monastic disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, they also took resolution on this holy day, 24th December, saying that we will not go back to this worldly life. We will take the life of monasticism, life of monkhood. For what? For one's own emancipation, for one's own liberation. Is it? For one's own self realization or God realization? Of course it is, but not only for that, for the service of the humanity. Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. This is the tagline of, or this is the motto of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. Striving for one's own salvation and also trying to serve the humankind for the betterment of society. These are the two twin ideals of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. And this resolution, two resolutions were taken by monastic disciples of Sri Ramakrishna on this holy day. So when we take such type of resolutions, it binds us. When I take such type of resolution, if I want to go back to this world or society or lead a pleasurable life, sunset life, life of sunset, then our mind will say, no, on particular day I've taken a oath, I've taken a resolution, so I have to stick on to my words, I cannot go back. Because our minds can cheat us. Our minds, the tendency of mind is always trying to pull down. Just like the tendency of water is, it always flows from up down direction. So similarly, most of in our lives, our tendency of mind is pulling down. So as a result, we may get diverted, distracted from the righteous life, from the life of truth, from the life of higher value, practice of higher values. So that's the reason we need a resolution. And the monastic disciples, they took it. And where did they take? On December 24th, 1886, a village by name called Antpur, which is the part of Hooghly district, West Bengal and India. The holy incarnation of this age, that is Sri Ramakrishna, when he descended, before his leaving his mortal coil, he trained some of the youngsters that you have to dedicate your life completely for God realization. You should take the life of penance, life of austerities, and you should take the life of renunciation. Renunciate. You have to become renunciate. So he had inspired them. He had guided them. He had given enough teachings for them. And also, he had given akar ropes and rosary, that is Rudrakshi Mala, for the 12 disciples. And also he had asked them to go to door and beg for food. So as their master said, they all wore akar robe and Rudrakshi rosary, and they went to house for begging. Why? In India, mostly monks used to live by begging because they cannot have their own property, any property. They can own the property. So when they went, they were all well built and youngsters. Many of the householders, they scolded them. You guys, young guys, you are well to do. I mean, you are well built personalities. Why have you come for begging? Is it not shameful on you? Instead of that, why don't you work? Why have you become the parasite to the society? Such type of scoldings they had to get. Some houses they welcomed with reverence and they gave the food. Anyhow, so this type of training had been given by their master, Sri Ramakrishna. After Sri Ramakrishna's passing away, the householder disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, they stopped supporting these young people. Since there was no financial aid for them, the youngsters had to return back to their respective houses and they continued their education or whatever the parents said, they started accordingly their life. Then Sri Ramakrishna passed away, left his mortal coil on August 16th, 1886. Just 6 weeks had over. Sri Ramakrishna's disciple, one of the disciple called Surendranath Mitra, he finished his work. Evening he came back to house and he sat for meditation. And he was meditating. Sri Ramakrishna appeared and said, "What are you doing, my son? My children are being deserted. My young children who want to lead the life of renunciation, they don't have any place to stay. They have been deserted and no one is taking care. How can you do that? How can you leave them? Why don't you take care of them?" So like that, Sri Ramakrishna asked and Sri Ramakrishna ordered Surendranath Mitra, the disciple or the devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, to take care. And he was a well-to-do person, financially was sound. Immediately, he got up and he ran to Naren's house. Naren is who? Swami Vivekananda. So he went to Naren's house and said, "Look, the master came and he has asked me to look after the monastery. So every month, for the basic expenses, whatever is possible, maybe 20 or 30 or 60 rupees in that days, I shall give." So immediately try to start, if not purchasing, at least for rent, you take a small house, small building, and you start the monastery there so that you can spend your life of renunciation or spiritual life. And whenever is possible, we devotees, we come and we do prayer, meditation, and get some spiritual teachings from you, and we will go back. Naren understood how master is doing his own work. Then, of course, since it was only 60 rupees for whole month they had to manage, so they thought it is better to go for the lower budget. Then in Calcutta, in and around so many places they tried. In many places, either the place was not conducive for to start a monastery, or some places which were conducive, the price or the rent rate was high. Finally, they got a house which was a dilapidated, haunted house which had a two-story building, except 2 or 3 rooms. Most of the rooms were in very bad condition where the human beings cannot live. And since it was a haunted place and it was known that the devils or ghosts or spirits are living there, so no one used to go there. Anyhow, for monks, there is no problem. So when they went and they tried to bargain with the owner, he happily agreed for 10 to 11 rupees. Monthly rent, 10 or 11 rupees you give and you can stay there. That's how the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission has a did start in that place. Finally, initially, Tarakda, future means Swami Shivananji, Bado Gopalda, that is Swami Advaitananji, then Kalida, that is Swami Abhedananji. 3 of them came and they started living there. And they had to had a square meal, it was difficult. Most of the time, only 1 meal, or sometimes only 2 meals. 3 o'clock, they used to get up and sit till to 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. They used to sit and meditate. Then have some lunch, then studies, then do prayers and bhajans, then again meditate. At late night, they used to go to sleep. And there was only one pair of dress. It used to be hanged on the wall, on the nail. Whoever used to go out, they used to wear that dress. Otherwise, most of them, whoever there, they had a lion cloth or a piece of cloth they had wrapped on their body, off of the body. Such a dire poverty they had. Then Naren also had some financial problems in the house. He had lost his father, widowed mother, and his sisters and younger brothers. They were there, they had to take care. And there was a lawsuit also. He had to fight for that. By doing, he went to house of these young disciples and he asked them, "Look, we should not forget what Master told us. We are supposed to live the life of mendicant or monk. So please, now the monastery has started in the Baranagar, that is called Baranagar Mutt. So please go back there. Some of them said okay, some of them said maybe, some of them probably they had said they're not sure. Then Naren had to discuss with them, he had to convince them what the master had told and all. Finally, they got convinced. One by one, they started joining Baranagar Mutt and started living there. Whoever came there once, then they were attracted by that spiritual atmosphere and also by the Naren's love. They stayed back there. At this juncture, in December, a great devotee called Matangini Devi. She was a great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. She is also mother of Swami Premanandaji, Baburam Maharaj, who was the monastic disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. She had heard about this people, how they are living the life of poverty and in the haunted house, in the dilapidated house. This Matangini Devi felt that let me call these youngsters and let me feed them properly. Let them live a life of with a good food and etc. So she sent a word to the Naren. Naren, I wish to welcome all of you, whoever is possible. Please come to my house in Anandpur. Initially, Naren and two or three youngsters they had planned to go. When they are going to Anandpur, when they came to know, other people also they started thinking to go. So I think around eight youngsters, they planned to go to Anandpur. That is Naren, Swami Vivekananda, Sharat, Swami Shardananda, Shashi, Swami Ramakrishnananda, Tarak, that is Swami Shivananda, Kali, Swami Abhedananda, Niranjan, Swami Niranjananandji, Gangadhar, Swami Akandhanandji, then Sharada Prasanna, Swami Trigunatitanand. So, and of course Baburam, that is Swami Premanandji. He was there already in their house, in his house. So all of them, they went to Anandpur. From Calcutta, they went by train to the Tarakeshwar. It is one pilgrimage place, Shiva's pilgrimage place. From there, from the carriage, they went to the Anandpur. And they went there. They didn't go for picnic. They didn't simply roam. They didn't simply nicely, they have got accommodation and food and all, simply ate nicely, sleep, make a merrymaking and going and here and because there were enough lakes and ponds. So they were not swimming and playing each other. No. They went and they started intense spiritual life, intense spiritual practices there also. Getting up early morning, sitting for meditation, scriptural discussions, discussions on God, on self, on spirituality, etc. And one fine day, it was a blue, clear sky, and it was the whole sky was lit with a more light because there were so many stars. And since there was a cold, it was in December, there was a enough cold. So just to protect themselves from the cold, they had put the fire. Good amount of fire they had put, and some this all the disciples, all the youngsters, they sat in and around the fire, and they started meditating. They meditated for long hours evening, and they continued their meditation till night probably. And there was complete silence, beautiful silence. Only the sound is the because of the firewood. Sometimes the cracking of the wood was the only sound. Otherwise, there was complete silence. Come clear sky, cold, and with a fire. The fire is burning. So similarly, inside the renunciation, the power of discrimination, everything is getting increased in the youngster's mind. After good amount of meditation, when their mind slowly came down, Naren, instantly he started speaking about the greatness of the uniqueness of Jesus Christ. How Jesus Christ descended on this earth, what is the importance of it, how he helped the people, and to uplift the people are by observing the sin of the people, for serving the society, for to serve the society, how he was been crucified, again how he got resurrection. All things beautifully, Swami Vivekananda started explaining about the life of Jesus Christ. He had read Jesus Christ's life, no doubt. He explained, and he also said, we should also dedicate our life for the betterment of the society, just like Jesus Christ. Every one of us, we should be like Jesus Christ. Means what? We should dedicate our life for the betterment of the humanity, for serving humanity like Jesus Christ. We have to dedicate ourselves to the service of the humanity. We should have complete unselfishness. So we should not have any place to selfishness. And also he said that we should become real human beings. I mean human beings in the real sense. He said Purusha Simha. What does it mean? Means we should live the life of celibate. We should have a control over our body. We should have a control over our mind. We should have a control over our senses and our desires and our thoughts and feelings. See, in the day-to-day thing, if you see, someone may be billionaire, or he or she may be a celebrity. He or she has got name and fame, power, position, money, etc., etc. But most of us, we are all the slaves of our mind. We are all slaves of our passions. We are all slaves of our desires. We are all slaves of our feelings. So, though we are the masters of the company, like managing director or chief executive officer, whatnot, but still we are slaves of our own mind. We don't have a control. So when Swami Vivekananda says we have to become a human being in a real sense, means we should become the master of ourselves. We should have a self-mastery. What a beautiful idea. What a grand idea. So we should have a self-mastery. We should have a self-control. Such a life we should live. And here, no compromise at all for any reason, for any cause. This was the utterances were told by Naren. And it's so beautifully he explained the life of Jesus Christ and his teachings and his dedication, his commitment, or his renunciation. And Jesus Christ was known for his renunciation also. And he was known for his dedication, commitment also. All these things were told beautifully. There suddenly, they also got inspired. All of them, over the people present there, everyone said, we shall, all of them, they decided that from today, we shall take a resolution. What? I will make a good money. I will become a celebrity. I will achieve so much name and fame, or I will rule the country. Is it that resolution? Such type of resolutions they took? No. They took the resolution that we will not go back to the world. Then what we will do? We will take the life of renunciation. We will become monks. We will become mendicants. And we will dedicate our life for the God and for the humanity, for striving for one's own liberation and for the betterment of the society. Bahujana itaya cha, bahujana sukhaya cha. Bahujana itaya, bahujana sukhaya cha. For the betterment of many people and for making good for many people, let us dedicate our life, our body, mind for the betterment of the society. So these were the spiritual resolutions they took. They took a oath, they took resolve, they took a resolution saying that we will not go back to society, whatever it may be. We will live the life of renunciation for one's own liberation and for the betterment of the society. So all of them, they took this oath and no more compromise in this and no more going back to the society or going back to the world. And Naren also he was telling, Sri Ramakrishna is our ideal. He was a man of renunciation. And he dedicated his whole life. Himself is a incarnation, but as a spiritual aspirant, if you see, he dedicated his body, mind, and life for the God realization and for the betterment of the society. He was always ready. He never cared for his body. Though he had a throat cancer, he never cared for it. Instead, he was always trying to help the people. He wanted to bring some good spirituality, some devotion in everyone, spiritual hunger in everyone. So much he has served us, and he he has shown so much love, unselfish, pure love on all of us. So that we should keep in our mind. And we should think about Sri Ramakrishna's life. What a beautiful life it was. What an exemplary life it was. And what were his teachings? Everything we should remember, and we should dedicate ourselves, keeping Sri Ramakrishna as an ideal and Sri Ramakrishna's life and teachings in front of us. And all the disciples who were there, all of the 8 or 9 people, they listened to the Swami Vivekananda's or Naren's speech. They all got inspired and they took the resolution. So once they took the resolution, keeping the fire as a witness, they all took the resolution that will become monks. So afterwards, then the night they went and they slept, and again next day probably they continued their spiritual practices. In few days, they went back to Calcutta. After this, in January, mid January, that is maybe on the third week of January, they all traditionally, as a scripture, whatever has been suggested as scriptural injunctions, they did the Virja Homa, they performed the Viraja Homa, and they took the sannyasa according to the traditions, according to the scriptural injunctions. So that's why it is this December 24th is a twice blessed day because of the birth of Jesus Christ, and the second is the monks, they took the resolution or the oath or the resolve that they will become monk. And that's how Swami Shivananji Maharaj, the apostle of Sri Ramakrishna, the second president of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission, he said, we can say somehow that from that day onwards, this Ramakrishna order of monks started. Why? Because we were monks. Sri Ramakrishna, when he gave the talker robes and rosary for us, then only we had become monks. But that day, as an order of monks, as a collectively, we took a resolve and oath, and we started living in the community life. So we can say indirectly that Ramakrishna order of monks started from the December 24th in the Antpur. You see, very small incidents, but that brings a big difference. It can be same thing in our spiritual life also. Sometimes we go to some ashram or some center, we hear something, immediately our ideas change, and just a spark of idea, just an idea, it can bring a change for us. And that small change will slowly, it will bring a big change in our life. That's why we don't know. Miracles means it is not walking on the water or sitting in the fire or bringing something in from the air. That is not miracle. What is miracle? Character development, becoming pure, dedicating ourselves to the service of the humanity, trying to live the life of God-centered life. So this type of changes, if it can happen in our life, from the physical level, if we can go to spiritual level, the transformation, if it comes in us, that is what real miracle. So that miracle can come in for every one of us at any time, we do not know. For that, we have to practice small spiritual practices, trying to listen this type of discourses or this type of incidents, and prayer, meditation, contemplation, discussions on good topics, or contemplations, all these spiritual practices, slowly, small, these things, if you keep on adding, just like if you keep on adding a small pebbles, then one fine day, it will be full of jar, a big jar. So similarly, small spiritual practices, small votes, small resolutions, when we keep on taking, and when we keep on practicing without fail to larger extent, then our life is built up, and we will have a lot of progress in our spiritual life or a God-centered life. That is what real life is. That is what real miracle is. That we have to do it. And also, if you see how it was beautiful, from the order point of view, Ramakrishna order point of view, if you see, suddenly Matangini felt that probably she will call these youngsters, and she will feed them, because as a motherly heart, she felt that she will feed them so that she will feel happy, and probably the young children, the young chaps, they will get some food, some better food, at least for a few days. That's what her idea was. And that's the reason she called. And initially, Naren and 2 or 3 youngsters were only interested in coming. And afterwards, slowly the news got spread, and many other youngsters, they decided that they will also join. And finally, it went to 8 or 9 number, and all of them they went, and they plunged in the spiritual practices. And one auspicious day, they sat for meditation in front of a fire, and suddenly Naren got inspiration about the life of Jesus Christ, and he started keep on explaining about the life of Jesus Christ. And they took the oath, and afterwards they came to know that that was a Christmas Eve. And also, when we our mind is pure, and when our mind goes to the higher level, how the minds can be connected. Though it was a Christmas Eve, he was not known. So Naren knew this. It was a Christmas Eve. Because his mind had gone to the particular level, his mind got connected with the universal mind. He was able to get that vibrations, and he started instantly speaking on Christ. So this is the beauty of the even celebrations and the festivals. So when the Christmas day, when everyone is praying for Christ and all, so whoever mind goes up, if they wish so, they can connect to the life and teachings of Christ. So similarly, Ram Navami, say for an example, that is on birth of Rama. When we keep on thinking about Rama and when we keep on meditating on him, so getting his grace on that particular day, auspicious day, it is much more easy for us. Similarly, so January 14th, we are having the Swami Vivekananda's birthday. So on the day, many senior sadhus, we have heard that he will be more compassion. So that day, if you can do meditate more and more prayers, and if you do, you'll be able to receive the grace of Swami Vivekananda in abundant on that day. So that's why even these festivals, these celebrations are required. It may say, oh, what is there? Only on this festival day celebrations, why we should do? Other days we can do, isn't it? Yes, any day for doing good work, for doing good practices, any day is a good day, no doubt. But these are the celebrations or the festival days are the special days. On that days, we should try to do spiritual practices, and we should try to lift our mind and connect to the universal mind, or to the God, or to the divine. Then we'll be able to receive it. Here we can see very clearly, Naren, without knowing that it was a Christmas Eve, and just because in meditation his mind had raised and his mind was connected to the universal mind or whatever, he was able to he suddenly got inspired about Christ, and he started speaking of Christ. And so many examples, incidents we can see in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Similarly, we can see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, or similarly, we can see in the life of saints, because of in the particular place they went, and suddenly they started speaking about particular person or particular philosophy. Why? In the olden days, some saint had lived there. So that tanmatras, that frequency was there, and because of that, saint's mind had elevated to the higher level. He was able to grasp, he was able to tune himself to that particular ideas. So on these celebrations, on the festivals, we should try to practice more and more spiritual practices on these days, so that we can, these are the days can be reasons, cause for our spiritual progress more and more, and probably our spiritual progress can be better also. So may Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sharda Devi, Swami Vivekananda, all the monastic disciples, and also Jesus Christ bless all of us and the entire humanity, so that let us try to go near more and more truth, and let all our desires be, good desires be fulfilled, and let the humanity be at peace, and let us love each other, let us serve each other, let us not fight each other. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.